Hey guys, hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Today we are going to talk about all three of the latest releases for 2023 of the Miguron budget class knives. Guys, I picked up all these knives to bring through the channel, to live with, to use, and give you my final thoughts. And do I have some final thoughts? Before I jump into this, and I'm going to take it one knife at a time, so we're going to start with the Pagos. If you guys would, that bell notification and that subscribe button down below. If you get a chance and you're so inclined and you want to help me out, please hit both of those buttons. The bell notification icon will let YouTube know you're a human, not a bot. It'll notify you when I release new videos. It'll cost you absolutely nothing, and it'll make my day. So if you would be so kind, I would really appreciate it. This is the Miguron Pagos. So when we look at all three of these knives that came out right around the same time, I see kind of a slight theme where the Pagos, the first one I got, was a little bit thin. Excuse me. I got them in this order. The Miguron was kind of a good sized knife. It was a flipper only knife, or flicker only. And then we had the Pagos that has thumb studs, really nice action, and a front flipper. You know how I feel about front flippers. And then, to my surprise, we had the Polona, which has really just kind of upped the game, and it makes me really have a hard time distinguishing between these three knives in terms of budget knife of the year. So when I say budget knife of the year, I did not go to Amazon before filming this. I went to Miguron's website to get an idea of where these fall into the price point. And all three of these knives, regardless of which one you choose, on Miguron's website are $47.99. And guys, that is $47.99 for a G10 handle, very, very nice G10, an overbuilt to full size built steel liners. The G10 sits flush on top of the liners, on top of the full liners. They're not recessed, but it really makes the knife feel like a knife. It's not the thinnest knife, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. And I'll show you a comparison here when we get to it, what I'm talking about there. But all of these knives are 14C 28N. So the blade steel, I think, is top notch. This particular knife is, like all of them, very, very slicey. This one kind of reminds me of a mini machete. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Finch Takuna. It's just because it has that really keen drop point that comes to a kind of immediate belly. But this one out of the three has the slimmest handle. They're all going to be about the same thickness, and they're all going to be accented with a titanium. Well, not all of them. Most of them are going to be accented with a titanium pivot collar, and they'll all have a titanium clip. And that's for under $50, guys. So the action on this knife is no short of spectacular. For a $100 knife, it would be spectacular. For a $50 knife, it's hard to believe. 100% locked up, sturdy as it can be, drop shut. Reverse flick, money. Front flick, which I hate, money. So all the detents are tuned very, very well. And then another common theme is these sharpening choils are done very well. You can see where that plunge grind comes down and terminates towards the back side of that little sharpening choil. So you've got a lot of good sharpenings there should you need them. This 14C has held up for me very well. Let me grab a coupon, and since we're getting low, we will cut a coupon with all three, kind of mix it up. So the Pagos is very slicey. Again, a very, very nice knife. The only thing that makes this knife less than spectacular are the two knives that come after it. So we'll put the Pagos off to the side, which is the smallest of these budget Migurons, but none of these knives do not have the Javon seal of approval. So any of these knives strike your fancy, your style, you can't go wrong. And Amazon's the best place to get them. So anyways, moving on, we have probably my favorite. Guys, this is what I would call a budget grail. And I didn't say it earlier, but this is going to be true on all of these knives. All of the hardware is very well done, very refined and deep, and it's all T8 hardware. So you've got T8s all the way around, reversible titanium clip. This one has either a stainless or a raw titanium collar. I'm not really sure there. It's got a stonewash blade, a thumb flicker deployment, and a detent that makes this combination with this pill-shaped hole, which is probably my favorite deployment hole, no way to fail it. It is, once you break the detent, it flies out. Guys, this next knife I'm going to show you is fantastic, but I do not see anything in the budget range under 80 bucks, under 70 bucks, knocking this knife out. It is awesome. 14C, 28N, really nice green G-Carta, or G-Carta, G10, titanium clip, T8 hardware, deployment hole only, fantastic ergos, same thickness, we'll verify that when we get measurements, wonderful finger choil, just a great knife. That's the Miguron Miguron. Give me 2 seconds, guys, because this is where I was going to compare why I don't think a big knife is altogether bad. So, we have the third and final budget Miguron that I picked up. And this is probably going to run a really, really close second, or possibly outseat as I continue to use it, the Miguron. This is the Miguron Polona. Guys, this knife's detent is thumb stud deployment, but it's tuned for both the thumb stud flick or the reverse flick. It's got this really nice stonewash, thin leaf blade with a satin little area back here. Nice stacked thumb studs that give you really good traction. A really thick, hardy knife in the hand with fantastic ergos. So even though it's a bigger knife, I don't feel that the ergos suffer. The action surely doesn't. It flies open without fail. Has some of the best action, just like the other Migurons. And I didn't cut with the Miguron, so we'll have to bring it back in here as my ADHD brain, so I won't lose track. I'll keep that one out. But just to show you that all of these came very, very sharp, very slicey. So back to the Polona. Again, $47.96 on Miguron's website. If you go to Amazon, you can get it a little cheaper. But the reason I don't think a big knife is necessarily a bad thing, one of my faves is this knife right here. When I first picked up this Miguron, first thing it made me think about was this Chavez. They are both very similar thickness, got the back spacer, very similar thumb studs. Yeah, the blade on the Miguron doesn't have all the treatment or the jimping that the Chavez does. It doesn't have that wicked hollow grind, compound grind. But for a work knife for under 50 bucks that feels, and let me show you something. So this is the Miguron 4.95. Chavez, keep in mind it's half titanium, 4.45. So the Miguron is just a little bit heavier than the Chavez, but in your hand, guys, you can't feel that difference. The Miguron comes in at an even 4, and the Pagos comes in at 3.65. So that makes sense based on the sizes that they look, how they graduate down. So let's do a couple of really quick size comparisons, get a couple of measurements, and then we will move on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open all these, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the shorty, not by much. I think they're all right around the same size. All right. So I don't have a ton of comparison knives out here, but I do have the Benchmade bug out. So guys, for lack of anything better, they are the same size within an RCH of the Benchmade bug out. Now, if we break out our Ramon Chavez Street, they are right about the same size as the Chavez Street. So let's break out the Javon promotional free ruler. I'm looking at right over 7.5, right at 7.5, right at 7.5 overall. And so if we go to the blades, I'm going to be 3 1/4, right under 3 1/4, right over 3 1/4, with a handle of 4, 4 1/4, and 4 1/4. So guys, the last measurements we need to get are from Grateful Panic's handy dandy calipers. So our blade stock should all be pretty similar. 0.11, 0.14. The Chavez clone, or not clone, that was the wrong word. The Chavez shape knife is going to be the thickest, with the Pagos and the Miguron sharing about the same. I'm going to anticipate that their handles are going to be about the same. 0.56 on our big boy. 0.53 on the Miguron. 0.52 on the Pagos. And then if I can get it behind the edge above that sharpening, 0.020. This is the thinnest. 0.0160. 0.0185. So guys, in closing and giving you my thoughts, any one of these knives that suits your deployment style, suits your look and feel. Yes, they're a little bit wider. They're not the thinnest knives that are going to be in your collection, but they are very well built knives. When I say well built knives, to me, they're every bit as solid as this Ramon Chavez. So guys, thank you for coming by, checking out the video. I appreciate any time you watch one of my videos. It's very humbling. I appreciate it if you take the time to subscribe. Guys, I'd really appreciate it if you'd look out for the guy or gal to your left, look out for the guy or gal to your right, look out for each other, go forward with love in your heart, choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.